It's not that awesome going to the racetrack on a motorcycle that has questionable tires, questionable brakes, and a potential fuel pump leak. Okay, so it's the Friday afternoon before the track day. Heading down to Utah here soon to do a track day with the guys at Apex Track Days. Super excited to go down there. I used to photograph those track days for a long time, but I haven't been to the track for about 10 years. So I'm going back. So a lot of history at Miller, which is now UMP, I think. It's weird. It'll always be Miller. Anyway, taking the SRAD down to see how it does on the track. So yeah, it's been a little bit of an adventure getting the bike ready for the track. Okay, so I'll give you a little rundown of what we've got going on the bike here. So kind of went through it. The wheels were pretty rough on this bike, so I had those repainted. So Steve Quintana did a great job painting the wheels. So got those freshened up. We also went through and just like gave it a really good clean. So all this was like super gross and gunky. So cleaned all that up and then did a bunch of just maintenance. So we put new brake pads on, we changed the oil filter, and also just got it ready for the track. So that included taping off the rear brake light and disconnecting it. And removed the turn signals. On the front, I removed the mirrors, so mirrors are gone. Turn signals also gone. Headlight is taped up. This like really cool old camo vinyl from a project years ago. So I'll put that on there. Do windscreen, eBay find. I had planned on doing stainless steel brake lines, but unfortunately they didn't arrive in time. So we're going to be running the stock brake lines and calipers. That's probably my biggest concern about the track day is the brakes. Brakes on this bike are not awesome, and it's kind of notoriously not good brakes on an SRAD. So I hear about guys going from the 6-piston to a 4-piston brake. So we may look at that in the future, but yeah, it's been kind of a mad dash to get this ready. You can probably tell there's no fuel tank on the bike, and here is why. So since I've owned the bike, it has had a fuel leak. So finally kind of got to the bottom of this. There's a flange that goes in between the fuel pump and the tank. It's a metal flange with some rubber vulcanized into it, kind of an O-ring that's built in. That had been leaking, so pulled it off. I soaked the O-ring in Vaseline to try and see if that would rejuvenate it. That held for a couple of days, then it started leaking again. So last ditch effort. Another thing I did was apparently these flanges or the tank kind of bends if you over torque these. So if that's wavy, it's not giving a good seal. So I went in and flattened those out, cleaned it up with some emery cloth. And then I used this fuel resistant Moto Seal gasket maker, Permatex. Apparently there's a better product called Hylomar, but it wasn't locally available. So I'm doing this and hoping for the best. So unfortunately, it takes 24 hours to cure. And at the point of putting this on, we were about 16 to 18 hours away from the track day. So I put this on and I'm gonna let it seal. I'm gonna transport the tank down to the racetrack off the bike to give it as long of a chance to seal as possible, and then I'll put fuel on the bike right before we run tomorrow. So really hoping that this seals. If it leaks, I don't exactly know what I'm going to do, because it's not ideal, because there's a bunch of electrical underneath there and probably increases the risk of a fire quite significantly. So yeah, other thing I did was change sprockets. So put 525 chain on, new chain sprockets, changed the gearing slightly, so hopefully a little bit better on the racetrack. Another slight concern I have is the tires. These are like the Michelin Angel ST, I believe, sport touring tires that came on it when I bought it. Definitely not a track tire. So yeah, we're just going to do the best we can with what we have. Probably not going to go super fast because I haven't ridden on a racetrack for almost a decade. So plan is to just kind of go and ride around. A little frazzled if you can't tell. Yeah, it's not that awesome going to the racetrack on a motorcycle that has questionable tires, questionable brakes, and a potential fuel pump leak. But it's what it is. We're down to the last minute here, and we're going to go down there, make the best of it. Elon Musk has that famous saying where he says that if you give yourself 30 days to clean the house, it'll take you 30 days. And if you give yourself 3 hours, it'll take 3 hours. What I'm going through right now is a perfect example of this, where you kind of leave it till the last minute, and then all of a sudden at the 11th hour, you're cranking and trying to get bikes ready and load trailers, etc. So anybody that's ever raced a motorcycle or done a track day, I'm sure in some way can relate to this. So yeah, excited, slightly nervous. We'll see how it goes. So we made it through tech and riders meeting. Got my others on. Haven't worn these things for a long time, and the bike is somewhat ready. I think it's holding fuel, so pretty nervous, but heading out and yeah, we'll see how it goes. First session had some issues with the brakes. Turned out I had a waved warp rotor, which would make the lever pull all the way to the bar, and then I have to kind of pump it up, which was really inconvenient. So came in, identified that issue, was able to straighten the best I could, and now it's considerably better. So super pumped on that. Okay, say hi to Jerry, say hi to the YouTube people.
Hey YouTube people.
This is one of the most exciting parts of this track day, is that Jerry's here. We go way back.
Thanks, Steven. It's good to have you back.
And we just saw each other at the Hard Enduro.
Yeah, like a week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
So random. Really glad you're here.
You too. Hope you have fun.
Last few sessions have been great. The bike's working really good. It's been a long time since it's been on the racetrack, so it's a little bit weird riding, but yeah, overall having fun. Tires seem like they're okay. Kind of nervous to go too much faster on them because they're sport touring tires, but no, having a blast. Bike's super fun. It's awesome to be out here with a bunch of buddies from back in the day, and yeah, let's see if we can keep the rubber side down for the rest of the day. Well, it's the end of the day, and I'm super excited to be putting the bike back into the trailer in one piece. So yeah, awesome day. Super pumped. The bike worked surprisingly well. Had a few challenges to overcome, the fuel pump leaking and dealing with all that stuff, and then we had some brake issues, but thankfully got that sorted, and yeah, I was able to put in a really good day. It was super fun. It's great to be back on the track, kind of debating what to do with the bike next. Part of me thinks it'd be a shame to make it a track bike because it's somewhat original and the bodywork's nice, but the bodywork's not that nice, so I don't know. Let me know, what would you do? But overall, awesome day. It was really fun. Super cool to come out here on a 26-year-old motorcycle and go ride around and kind of ride with the rest of the guys in the group. And there's Ducatis and all kinds of fancy stuff out there. So pretty cool to have a bike that can still hang with the modern stuff. Yeah, but big thanks to the guys at Apex Trackdays. It was awesome to come back down to UMP or Miller, always been Miller to me, and ride around here. My buddies Jerry Higgs and Brian Childry, it was really fun to see those guys. They were super helpful, supportive. So yeah, very good chance we'll be doing more track days again in the future. So we're back from the track, and kind of had a little bit of time to kind of think and process about how everything went. Yeah, I had a really good time overall. It was super awesome to be back on the track and riding around, and the bike honestly worked about as good as I could have imagined it to, really. Once we got the fuel tank thing figured out, and then the brakes kind of in a somewhat decent spot, worked great. The tires got me through the day. So before the next track day, 100% going to make some changes. Going to go through the brakes. We're going to do stainless steel brake lines, a master cylinder, and most likely calipers. We'll see. Kind of on the fence on the calipers, but got some stainless steel brake lines from G-Brakes, and then I'll do a master cylinder, and we're going to replace the rotors. That one rotor had a bit of a bend in it, so we'll replace that, which I think will really help a ton. In addition to that, I'm also going to do tires. I kind of feel like I pushed my luck a little bit on the sport touring tires this past weekend. So next time we'll put some slicks on, we'll use the tire warmers. I think that'll really help. So another change I'm going to make is to the clip-on position. So I sat on a couple of my buddies' bikes, Brian and Jerry. They're like local fast guys in Utah. And I noticed that their clip-ons are much flatter, more like in line with a handlebar. Obviously they still have a kickback slightly, but a lot more opened up and a flatter cockpit, whereas my bike's kind of more like kind of hunched in. So I don't know if this is like a old bike to new bike thing, or if it's a street bike to track bike thing. But I think that would really help kind of get a bit more of an open cockpit and easier riding position. So I'm going to do that also. And I think that'll really help. So brakes, clip-ons ergonomics, tires, and then yeah, we'll kind of see how it goes from there. But I think if we fix those three things, I think this bike will work quite a bit better on the track. So yeah, all in all, super excited about how it went. It was really fun to have a really old motorcycle in comparison, 26-year-old bike out there with a bunch of newer bikes. And I learned on Saturday that 100% the limiting factor in going fast was not the motorcycle, it was my riding ability. The brakes and stuff, like they definitely didn't help. And I think, honestly, it's one of those things that's more just like giving you a little bit more confidence in your equipment. So we'll get those dialed in. I might do rear sets as well. I don't know. We'll see. This has got street rear sets on it with the flip-up foot pegs. So I think regular race rear sets would probably work a bit better. So on the SRAD, I think we're just going to keep making some small improvements. Nothing drastic. Just kind of keep moving it forward and making it better. I'm really sensitive to starting another project because as much as it would be cool to build this into a race bike, that turns into a whole thing with bodywork and building brackets, and I have too many projects. So I think we're just going to boot a few little aftermarket parts, bolt on stuff, and we'll just keep this bike kind of moving forward. So speaking of projects, we still have the 92 over here. The 92 just needs like that little push to get through to the end. It is pretty close, but yeah, we'd really like to get that on the track before the end of the year. So I need to do some work on that. And then we also have the BMW. So we have a fun few weeks coming up. I'm going to ride this BMW up to Canada to see Carl Kuster and his old two-strokes and go see the guys at Dream Cycle. So that's going to be super fun. This is not an old motorcycle, I understand, but it is a really good touring motorcycle. And if a guy needs to go to Canada, this is about the best one to go on. So super fun. Then from there, we're going to go out to Vintage Motorcycle Days in Mid-Ohio at the end of July. So yeah, having a lot of fun with this. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, or things that you think might help in this whole process, please leave them in the comments. I'm really curious to hear from other people who have experience with these bikes. So please let me know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.